I want to tell you about a connection that is easy to miss. The medications that are keeping you healthy, especially over the age of 50, may also be drying out your voice and making singing harder. And it's easy to go years without linking the two. You might blame your technique, even blame your age, when a big part of the answer is sitting in the medicine cabinet. Now, I'm not going to tell you to stop taking anything. That is obviously your call to make with your doctor. What I do want to do is show you which medications directly affect the voice, why they do it, and what you can do to work around them. Before we get to the list, I want to give you the one idea that helps all of this make sense. Your vocal folds have a difficulty dial of sorts. Voice scientists call this phonation threshold pressure, or PTP, and it is the amount of air pressure you need to get the vocal folds vibrating. Now, when that pressure level, when the dial is low, singing feels easy. When it's high, every note costs you more effort. And here is the important thing. Dryness on the vocal folds turns that difficulty dial up. When the surface of your vocal folds lose moisture, they need more pressure to start vibrating. And you feel that effort as fatigue and basically a voice that just won't respond properly. And the single most common side effect of the medications we're about to cover is dryness. So keep that difficulty dial in mind. Most of this comes back to it. Number one on the list is antihistamines, allergy pills, cold medicine, and actually a number of the over-the-counter sleeping aids. If you've ever taken Benadryl and felt your mouth go dry, you already know what this does. Now, that drying effect does not stop at your mouth. It pulls moisture from the entire vocal tract, including the surface of your vocal folds. So that phonation threshold pressure, that dial, it goes up. And the voice gets stiff, it gets tired. The older antihistamines are even worse for this. The active ingredient in Benadryl and most of the nighttime PM products is a strong drying agent. Diphenhydramine is what it's called. And if you're taking one of those to sleep and then wondering why your morning voice is like sandpaper, there's your answer. Now here's the good news. The newer non-drowsy antihistamines are far gentler on your moisture level. So this is a conversation worth having with your pharmacist or your doctor. It's the same allergy relief, but a lot less drying. Number two is blood pressure medications. And this one really matters because so many of us are on them after the age of 50. Two things are happening here. First, a lot of blood pressure prescriptions include a diuretic, a water pill, and the whole job of a diuretic is to pull fluid out of your body. This is exactly what your heart needs, but your vocal folds need the opposite. Less fluid in the system means drier vocal fold surface and thicker secretions, thicker mucus. So that difficulty dial goes right up. And here's a detail that trips people up. A water pill will not drain a swollen vocal fold. That kind of swelling is a different kind of fluid, and diuretics do not touch it. So they dry out the singer without fixing the swelling. You get the downside, but there's not much upside. And second is one specific class, the ACE inhibitors. And these are famous for causing a dry, nagging cough. If you started a new blood pressure medication and a tickly cough showed up a few weeks later, that's a known side effect, and it's worth telling your doctor because there are usually other options. Now, to be clear, blood pressure comes first. You do not stop these, but you will need to increase your hydration to make up for them. And you can ask your doctor whether a different option might be more beneficial on the voice. But yes, blood pressure is incredibly important to keep in check. Now I want to give you something that can help fight against this. The fix for dried out vocal folds is first to obviously rehydrate the system, but you also want to gently wake the vocal folds up with a little back pressure, and even as little as 30 seconds of this can make a big difference. So take a straw in water. You can do a lip trill. Use easy airflow, a comfortable pitch, a few soft glides up and down. Now, what you'll feel is gentle back pressure actually helping the vocal folds align properly, and it stops them from coming together with too much force. And there are things happening acoustically that can help them vibrate with less effort. It is directly nudging that difficulty dial back down. This is your everyday tool against medication dryness. Hydration, and then a minute or two of this throughout the day. Now, the number 3 major drying medication is inhaled steroids, the maintenance inhalers for asthma and COPD. This one is different because the medication is landing directly onto your larynx every time you use it. When the inhaled steroid settles on and around your vocal folds, 2 things can happen. It can cause what appears to be a local weakening of the vocal fold muscles. So on exam, laryngologists have documented this as bowing of the folds, right where you make sound. Your vocal folds don't close as efficiently. And it can also set up a yeast infection, the same organism behind thrush, inside your larynx. And this is not rare. Depending on the study, the dose, and the device, hoarseness shows up in anywhere from about 5% to well over half of the people using these inhalers. The stronger and more frequent the inhaler, the more likely the vocal effect. Now, here's the encouraging part. When this happens, it is usually reversible. The research going back decades shows that the bowing and the hoarseness tend to clear up once the dose is lowered or the steroid is stopped under a doctor's guidance, but it can take a few weeks. And look, you need the inhaler that has been prescribed, so here's how you protect the voice around it. Use a spacer if your doctor approves one. This cuts down how much steroid lands in your throat. And then rinse your mouth and gargle after every use. This clears up the leftover steroid and helps prevent the yeast. And if hoarseness is sticking around, tell your doctor there may be room to adjust the dose or even switch the device. Now, let's pull this whole thing together into a protocol you can use. First, hydration is your number 1 defense, and this is not optional if you're on any of these. Water through the day, every day. For most of these medications, systemic hydration, drinking water, eating water-rich foods, is the actual medical recommendation. Second, put moisture directly on your voice. Steam, or even better, saline mist in a nebulizer puts moisture right on the surface of the vocal folds, where these medications are pulling it away. Third, time it. Your voice will be at its driest when these medications peak, so don't schedule your most demanding singing during that window. Give yourself longer warm-ups with proper hydration. And fourth, and this is a big one that singers do not always realize is within their power, talk to the person who prescribed it. There is almost always a conversation to be had, perhaps a water-based nasal spray instead of a drying one, a different blood pressure option if a cough shows up, a newer antihistamine. Small swaps made by your doctor, not you, can be incredibly powerful. And please remember, if your voice is feeling dry, weaker, or less reliable than it should, don't start blaming yourself. It's not always solely from poor technique or even the aging process. It could very well be the medicine that is keeping the rest of you healthy. Now, that's not bad news. This is good news, because once you know the cause, you can work around it and your voice is still there. Now, I go a lot deeper into protecting the mature voice in my best-selling book, The Mature Singer's Guidebook, and you can download the entire book for free. The link is in the description. And if you want a complete training system with guided courses, workouts, and myself and my team to help and guide you, that is VoiceSchool. The link is below as well. And if this was useful, subscribe and hit the bell because I make these videos for singers like you every week. And since we talked about your voice tiring out, watch this one next. It's all about why the voice fatigues after 50 and how to build the endurance back. Just click on it right here. And until next time, to better singing. Take care.